Hello, everybody. This is Catholic Dad, episode number 406. Don't be a Dick Costello. Dick Costello, I don't know if you know who he is. By the way, that was supposed to be a little bit funny, but Dick Costello was a former CEO of Twitter. He runs a hedge fund now, venture capital or something like that. He's presumably a very wealthy and affluent man with much influence around the globe. And so he said something, tweeted something out that just drives me flipping insane, and it should drive the rest of the world insane as well. He said that the me first capitalists, essentially the businessmen who don't accept woke culture, will be when the revolution starts. He said, when the revolution starts, the me first capitalists, or those who don't accept woke culture, will be the first ones lined up and lined up against the wall and shot, and I'll be there giving commentary. And so that should send chills to the bones of everybody. So essentially, what Dick Costello was saying was that the business people that don't accept the progressive woke liberal movement and the hard left are going to be round up, put against walls, and shot. Now, boy, that sounds a little hysterical, doesn't it? And it sounds like that could possibly never happen in the history of the world. The problem is every major country that fell to communism in the last 100 years, that's exactly how it started. That everybody would wind up line up the influential, gather them up, the capitalists, the businessmen, even the professor types, and they would line them up and shoot them. All the people with influence that didn't cave to their needs and their desires and their wants. And then right after that, they started with the religious. In some cases, they started with the religious, and it's always, by the way, Catholics and Orthodox. So you're listening to Catholic Dad channel. I promise you, if you're a faithful Catholic and this crap plays out, you're going to be round up and they're going to try to shoot you. So you better get your life in order and you better go to the sacraments. And so this Dick Costello said this. What happens to him? Well, it's in the New York Post and it's in a couple of papers around the country. But the fact of the matter is you can't yell fire in a movie theater and get away with it. That's not freedom of speech. You can't threaten somebody. That's not freedom of speech. But what he did was essentially he said, when the revolution starts, which he was kind of implying he knows it's going to, the which people are going to be lined up and shot against the wall, and he's going to be giving commentary. Essentially, he gave a play-by-play book about what he thinks is going to happen. He thinks is going to happen in the revolution. And the problem with this is he has power, he has money, he has influence. So who knows who he's funding, right? You can't say things like that. Like, can I say something similar like, oh, by the way, when this revolution starts soon, I'm going to round up this group or that group, and oh, by the way, I'll be there giving commentary when people shoot and kill them. I can't do that. If I did that on a YouTube channel or a Twitter platform or something like that, the Department of Justice would be at my door, and they would arrest me, and they'd talk to me, they'd depose me, they try to see if I was actually serious about what I was doing, because that's called hate crime. It's called hate groups, right? Anyway, so bottom line is Dick Costello is the Department of Justice arresting him, because that's not exactly legal doing that. And oh, by the way, he was one of the guys that took down a lot of the conservative platforms from Twitter when he was CEO. And so he has an agenda, he has a political agenda, and who knows what groups he's influencing and what groups he's actually funding. But so anyway, don't be a Dick Costello. And so why am I saying this? Dick Costello is a woke social justice warrior. That's what he is. And so why shouldn't you, as a Catholic or anybody else who's watching the channel, not be a social justice warrior? And so this is Catholic Dad's take on it. Okay, so don't be a social justice warrior because of this. It's because by the very definition of being a social justice warrior or living in woke culture, it essentially signals to the rest of the world, anybody with half a brain, right, half a brain, that you have a sense of entitlement, that essentially your opinion matters more than the structure and order of society, and that your opinion matters so much that you can actually throw this opinion into society to try to overturn society, like break it down, to just crash it and burn it. And it shows two things. So one, you have a sense of entitlement, and number two, it shows resentment. It actually shows another thing too, lack of gratitude, and that you hate the position you're in, right? Because you hate the society you're in, and you have all this time and energy on your hands and all this life and whatever else has been given to you from the society, that you can go into the society to try to tear down the very society which you're a great benefactor of. Okay, So ingratitude, resentment. I mean, these are things, and people know it too. That's the funny part. Well, anyway, so here's Catholic Dad, and I'm not going to go into I will go into my past a little bit. Okay, so I grew up in a broken family. My parents divorced when I was 3. My dad grew up in the projects in New York City. He was a New York City cop after Vietnam, after he was, drafted into Vietnam. My mom was a single mom of 3. She was a waitress and a secretary for the most part. And then after 10th grade, we declared bankruptcy. I was always working full time from age 11, maybe 11, 12, helping out with the bills and expenses and paying for myself. Essentially, I was financially independent from the age of 11 or 12. And that's no joke. I bought everything I ever had, right? And so, anyway, I went to college for the most part, put myself through that, med school. And then I married a woman, in med school, had 9 children, have my own private practice. I've delayed my gratification. I've saved. I've invested in properties. I'm a landlord. I'm a businessman, and so on and so forth, right? And so why am I telling you this, by the way? Because literally my beginnings of, we declared bankruptcy and my father's from the projects and so on and so forth. Like the woke culture would say, like, those people are the downtrodden, right? Well, I'm not downtrodden now. I'm a physician. I have 9 kids. I own businesses and so on and so forth. But how the heck did I get there? You gotta wonder. It's not like like somebody gave me a business and that's the privilege that I have. It was literally, and I'll tell you literally, okay? I was working constantly in high school, constantly. But literally from college on, I haven't really taken much time off at all, hardly a week at a time, and I've worked constantly, and having 9 children, I don't have time to be woke. I don't have time to even understand what their culture is. The fact of the matter is, I'd actually like to take anybody who's woke and ask them, do you think you could do what I could do? Because frankly, you probably wouldn't. I mean, the fact that you're out burning things, pillaging or looting or even protesting, right, peaceful ways or whatever you're doing, means you have more time on your hands than I've had in the last 20 years combined, right? So, like, what are you angry about? You have time on your hands. But all that being said so I'm a businessman, right? And I hire people. I do. I just do. And I can tell you what I do. I go to Facebook, social media platforms before I hire you or before I rent to you or whatever else. And if there's an inkling and an idea that you're a social justice warrior, I will not do business with you. Because the fact of the matter is, every problem I've ever had in business, not everyone, almost every problem I've ever had in business or renting or whatever else it is to poor tenants or, HR issues at work, it's almost always with somebody who's woke, somebody who is a social justice warrior. Because, as I already said, when you're a social justice warrior, you tell the world that you're resentful, you have no gratitude, and you have a sense of entitlement. And I can tell you, but so everybody's like, listen to me right now. Like if you're in the woke culture, social justice warrior culture, I'm telling you this as an ally, as a friend. I'm not telling you this as an adversary. The Russians used to have a saying that your enemies tell you the truth, your friends tell you, or no, I'm sorry, your enemies tell you what you want to hear, your friends tell you the truth, right? So your enemies will tell you whatever you want to hear. They're your enemy. I'm telling you what you need to hear. Your social justice warrior platform, the fact that you're angry, you're pissed off at the world, you have resentment and you're ingratitude, tells the rest of the world, like nobody wants to do business with you. Nobody wants to hire you, and therefore you'll never climb the ladder of the hierarchy to actually give yourself, your family, and your friends around you a better life. You're just going to make the world miserable for absolutely everybody as you seek taking down the order, the structure of society, and burning things and protesting and so on and so forth. But don't be a Dick Costello. Why did I say that? Because he is a very rich, woke person. And the thing he said today, I think is probably illegal. I think that the Department of Justice should probably visit him and arrest him and find out who he's funding in what capacity. A lot of people say, freedom of speech. No, freedom of speech does not apply when you threaten somebody or create a public danger. And we in our society are on the edge. America is a tinderbox right now, and it could very easily go up in flames. And the fact of the matter is, every communistic revolution ever has always started the way Dick Costello said, when the next revolution starts, right? It's the me first capitalist, which will be lined up against the wall and shot, and I'll be giving commentary, meaning he agrees with that, right? And so Dick Costello is actually calling for a communist revolution, whether he knows it or not. He's advocating for it, and he certainly isn't turned off by killing hardworking, productive life. That's ungrateful, it's resentful, and shows a sense of entitlement. So don't be a Dick Costello. Don't do it. And then, what else did I want to say to you? Oh, and then right after that, they always come for the Roman Catholics. They always do. So you guys better be prepared. So you got to do your confession. You got to, do your penance. Get yourself in a good way with the Lord, because when they come for you, you better be ready, because you better be ready spiritually, because whether they get you or not, they're going to get you in some way. I want to put history in perspective, by the way, right now. So I'm a big reader. I'm kind of a student of history. And, before World War One, I suspect that the time in America right now, the way we feel that culture's broken and there's something wrong and something bad's going to happen, this feeling we have, I think, was probably the feeling everybody had before World War One, but nobody knew what the heck the trigger was going to be. Well, anyway, and everybody's like, Europe's a tinderbox. What's going to happen? Well, so this Serbian national, Gavrilo Princip, he assassinates some crappy little duke from Austria, Archduke Ferdinand, shoots him and kills him, right? I can't remember what the date was, but I think it was midsummer or something like that, right? Early July or whatever it was. And literally 5 weeks later, after that, that was the flame. That was the spark. England's marching troops into France, and the whole world exploded in this horrible revolution. And mind you, I don't know if you know this, but every revolution and every war in the last 200 years has always been one of nationalism versus globalism, ever since communism ever stepped on the world stage. And so when Dick Costello says that on Twitter, he's not joking, people. He's not. He's actually stating a criminal act that he's intending to happen. And just be careful, everybody, because the world is a tinderbox, and if Dick Costello got his way, you would be lined up against the wall and shot, particularly if you're watching this channel. And so I want to actually encourage people out there who's watching this channel that the difference between us and Europe and us and Soviet Russia, us and every other country that's ever fallen to Dick Costello's revolution, the Marxist far left revolution that just destroyed all the intelligent people and hardworking people and whatever else in it. Any government that's ever fallen to it had an unarmed population. Okay. Well, so Americans out there, if you're listening, I don't care what kind of violence occurs in the streets and what the calls for the government are to help unarm the population to create safety and security. Do not give up your firearms. Just don't, because that will be the great disincentive for the Marxist revolution. And then that's the way to stop it. Honestly, it's just disincentive is the way it is. If enough people have firearms, enough people are serious about resisting being shot and killed against the wall, then they can't get their way with you. So anyway, this is Catholic Dad making you think about it. Please like and subscribe, get to Mass, and pray the daily rosary. God bless you all.